We love the Andy Griffith Show. We watch it every night. My dad plays the guitar and I sing some of the Opie songs.
That's something we look forward to seeing every day.
We didn't want to miss Andy Griffith. We kind of sit out and watch it by.
It comes on 5 times a day on my cable, and if I get a chance to watch it 5 times a day, I watch it 5 times a day.
My dad and I used to sit down and watch that. He had come in from a busy day at work. He was a rural physician, and you could just see the wave of relaxation coming over him.
I feel like anybody comes to Mount Airy, that they become a part of Mayberry.
It just brings back memories of what the show was about, of good, honest folks.
Everybody really comes here thinking it's Mayberry. I honestly feel you could leave your car unlocked here. Nothing would happen this weekend.
If I was ever in trouble, I know where I could go, and I would be welcomed and helped in any manner, just like you would with family.
I personally like the atmosphere. Everybody's down here for one reason, you know. It's almost like you just like a family.
It's like you're going back in time.
Everybody that I meet is like the town of Mayberry citizens. They're wonderful, caring people, and that's the best thing there is in life.
I see we have a great group from Sweetwater, Tennessee, the First Baptist Church. On behalf of the Mount Airy Visitor Center and the City of Mount Airy, I'd like to welcome you to our town that is affectionately known as Mayberry. Right inside our Visitor Center, we have the largest collection of Andy Griffith memorabilia in the country.
Andy Griffith's childhood friend and Mount Airy resident, Emmett Forrest, is constantly adding to the collection of artifacts that are displayed in 3 impressive rooms.
Just recently, he has given me 2 most treasured items that I have. The signs from the courthouse door, Sheriff and Justice of the Peace. I like to say that we have a 4-letter tourist industry here, A-N-D-Y.
Andy Griffith grew up in Mount Airy, and it's no coincidence that Mount Airy reminds people of Mayberry. A stroll down Main Street will provide visitors with a step back in time. It's everybody's hometown, a place where community means a lot and friendships are everything. Time runs at a leisurely pace in Mount Airy to give people a chance to remember the important things of life.
I think a lot of people are coming back to see if we truly are like the mythical Mayberry. You can walk down Main Street and think you've stepped off the set.
Other Mount Airy locations and names remind people of Mayberry. The Snappy Lunch was mentioned on the Andy Griffith Show, and Andy ate there as a young boy growing up in Mount Airy. In an early episode of the Andy Griffith Show, Andy suggested to Barney that they go to the Snappy Lunch to get a bite to eat.
I can see Andy riding an old bicycle, and he would come here and put his bicycle against the door. He said one time that when his mother had a whole lot to do, that she would give him a quarter to get him out of the house. And he said he could take that quarter and go to the movies and get out and go across the street at Snappy Lunch and buy 2 hot dogs and a bottle of pop, all for a quarter. I see him shaking his head because he's done that too.
Floyd's City Barbershop and the Wall of Fame are a must-see in Mount Airy. Owner Russell Hyatt has been cutting hair for more than 50 years, and he boasts 2 chairs, no wait.
We have a lot of the regulars that come in here and loaf around early in the morning and tell their jokes and tell the news and make news and all that sort of thing. And have people come in that we call Otis, people that come in we call Opie, people that come in we call Barney, and all of them.
The Surrey Arts Council's annual Mayberry Days Festival has become one of the most recognized and anticipated events in the region. It attracts visitors from across the nation who come to sample a taste of Mayberry.
We want to proceed through this presentation this morning in an orderly fashion. I don't know how we're going to do it with that lineup standing back there against the wall. Don't they look good? From my right to left, we got Opie back there. Wave at him, Opie. Opie's from Tennessee. Goober's standing there. Wave at him, Goob. He's from Ohio. Then Ernest T. Bass is standing there.
Howdy.
Believe it or not, he's from North Carolina. And Howard Sprague. Briscoe, darling, how you doing, Briscoe? And one of the greatest fellers in the world, Floyd the Barber, right there. We always have some wonderful special guests at Mayberry Days. The 14th annual is no exception. We enjoyed her on the show, certainly, but when you meet her in person, boy, the love just grows. Let's welcome Miss Betty Lynn.
We have such a great time coming here and enjoying all of your sweet faces and those great smiles, and you're so happy to see us, and we're so happy to see you. I thank you.
Did you ever see Juanita?
Huh? Don't mention Juanita around here, buddy. We have the fella who penned the Andy Griffith Show theme song with us this year. You won't find a nicer gentleman than this fella. I want everybody to whistle with me. Our special guest this year, Mr. Earl Hagen.
Take down your fishing pole and meet me at the fishing hole. We may not get a bite all day, but don't you rush away. We're a great place to rest your bones and mighty fine for skipping stones. Real fresh as a lemonade, a satin in the shade. Weather is hot, weather is cool. Oh, what a fun for whistling like a fool. Day to take a stroll and wander by the fishing hole. Can't think of a better way to pass the time of day. We have no need to call the roll when we get to the fishing hole. You, me, and old Rattray to doodle time away. We don't hook and birch or bass, we'll cool our toes in dewy grass. We'll pull up a weed and shawl and maybe set a jaw. Hanging around, taking our ease, watching the hounds.
Pretty girl, pretty name. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
You're welcome.
I just love watching the show.
You're welcome. A better way to pass the time of day.
For real life, I am a ASC master school bus technician. When they talk about if you can fix a carburetor in 38 minutes, you know, I'll do it. Out at Newcastle, Indiana, I got to meet George Lindsay, a real goober, and he was flattered that there was someone willing to imitate his character. And great man, funny man, and it was really a great opportunity for me to meet the real person, because not all the impersonators such as Opie, Ronnie Howard, gets, you know, a chance to meet the person they imitate. But I got to do my imitations of him as Judy, 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 Judy.
I've been doing the Otis character on a fairly regular basis for the last 3 years. All my vacation now is used doing this character. I almost feel like I'm in a dream. When I'm here, I've never really even dreamed anything to be as wonderful as this. I've grew up watching TV and seeing celebrities, although I'm not one. This Otis character is. Everybody wants my autograph. They want their picture took with me. They want to tell me stories. They're wonderful. The best thing about this whole thing is meeting hundreds and hundreds of new friends.
This is just the junior trivia. Alrighty, it's Opie's turn. Now he's been practicing his reading and writing, so.
What game were Judd and Chester playing when Judd was arrested for disturbing the peace?
But we've been in Walmart and we'll see somebody go past the aisle, and then they'll come back, and then they'll go forward, then they'll come back and say, has anybody ever told you you look like Opie Taylor off the Andy Griffith Show?
Yeah, this is Jamie's 5th year at Mount Airy, Mayberry Days. 5 years ago, he won the Opie Lookalike contest at the Huntsville Stars ball game.
The first year it was sort of weird. It was just a weird feeling that I can't even put into words.
People really enjoy the lookalikes, and they enjoy the lookalikes because they look like what they did on the show during that time frame. They can converse with the other lookalikes and Jamie like he is really Opie on TV, and a lot of children do not understand that he's not Opie.
Right now I play baseball and soccer, and My dad's teaching me how to play the guitar. I like playing the guitar, and I like to play video games some too, and I do some acting. We're having a 6th grade play at our school, Oliver Twist, and I'm playing Oliver Twist in the play.
How long do you think you'll be able to keep doing this?
I can't really tell, just as long as I look like Opie, probably, I will.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. We just enjoy it because you never know what next year may bring.
We're going to do the trivia just like we were. Ask a question. Each person should come down and pick one of our judges, whisper it in their ear, and if you get it right, stay down here, okay?
Who in Mayberry will not admit to having 2 sets of false teeth?
I just love Mayberry Days. I do. I study on that trivia all year. I have to run up there and give the answer because a lot of times I will forget the answer before I get there.
On a quiet Sunday morning, Malcolm Tucker experiences car trouble 2 miles outside of Mayberry. What is the highway number that Mr. Tucker has car trouble on?
There's an episode where Aunt Bee flies a plane. She told Andy that she'd never had a big moment in her life. And you remember Clara Edwards? Her husband had passed away, and she said she was just thankful that there was something that she could do that not a lot of other people could do.
Name Mayor Stoner's wife.
She's got a head of steam.
Yes, it was!
Oh, she is!
Yes! Yes, it is!
Yes, it is.
People used to laugh at me. They still do. They laugh at me, but the trivia part of Mayberry Days just means a whole lot to me.
Ma'am, you can afford to be mighty proud of yourself. I know. Now tell me how many years you've won.
This is the 4th year, and I give the Lord all the credit. You know that question about Cecil Gurney, I knew it, but I forgot it before I got here. But he did it. Thank you, everybody. I love y'all.
This is a portable tape recorder.
Mr. Maxwell makes recordings of folk songs all over the world. He might want to do an album with some of the people around here.
Oh. We were on 2 episodes, actually, with the Country Boys back in 1961. Actually, how it happened was we had made a record, a little 45, and it was playing on the radio on the country station, and Andy heard it on his way in one day and told somebody to find those guys, and they found us and asked us if we would like to come and be on the show. And I told them that I thought that we could work them into our schedule.
It's like a coffee pot, your nose is like a spout, your mouth is like a fireplace, all ashes out.
I had my one big line in the show, and it said, we appreciate you letting us invest in your record company, Mr. Maxwell. And when I said it, I said, we appreciate you. And Andy says, no, it's not appreciate, it's appreciate.
Oh, that was wonderful, boys, just wonderful. They're great, Sheriff. I'm glad you like them. It's just the kind of music I was looking for, authentic. And I've got you to thank for it, Sheriff. Yeah.
We appreciate you letting us play for you, Mr. Maxwell.
Well, thank you.
We sure appreciate you letting us buy stock in your recording company, too.
Well, let's hope it works out well for all of us.
That was my lesson on how to do North Carolina speak.
And he got a laugh, and I didn't.
I know it happened, and it's over and done with. I'm sure Frank and I will be very good friends.
Well, that's a good attitude.
This episode is, I think, probably one of the, let's say, lesser known episodes, maybe. And I'm only in it a fleeting glimpse. So when you audition for something, especially out in Hollywood, they give you a quick little shot at some part that maybe has 1 or 2 lines in it, and that's about what mine had. The kiss was the most important thing, and they evidently cut the 2 lines thinking that it was. I'm thinking all the time, hey, this girl is gorgeous. I'm single then, you know. I kept thinking, hey, I'm going to have to rehearse that, and I'm going to mess up. So I'll probably have to do it once, twice, 3 times, 10 times, It'll take about 15 times. Oh, I love it. I can't help it. I love it. So we did the scene. The director says, that's a take, or something like that. And it was over. And I thought, 15 times down the drain. You know. So Andy was just laughing his head off. And I said, what are you laughing at, Andy? He said, I don't believe it. I said, what? Believe what? He said, that's one of the hardest things to do a kiss on screen the first time, and you got it right.
Snow will come when geese are calling. We need a fire against the cold.
I was a singer before I did any acting. I had a nice little career. It wasn't anything too spectacular, but for me, I enjoyed it. So I met a man named Dick Link, Andy Griffith's manager, and he said to me, Margaret Ann, if you ever come to New York, you look me up. Of course, that's all it took. Andy Griffith was doing his show, and the part came up of a hillbilly, a girl that lived with her brothers and sang all her life, so it kind of was a natural. The writers on the show were so terrific. So they came up with the idea that Charlene didn't have anybody to play with up in the mountains, so they came down to town. And Charlene got one look at Andy and decided that he was very pretty and she wanted to play with him. So.
Charlene, I'm old enough to be your father.
He's sure been beautiful preserved.
We did the first show and they had a lot of good response to the show. So over the years, I did about 5 or 6 episodes. Well, Andy kind of gathered to him a lot of people that were from the South and that were sort of on his same wavelength, had the same sense of humor. The first time we went to the reading, Andy was very careful about the show and getting everything thoroughly funny. And I met Denver Pyle, and I met the Darlings, and Dawn, and we all sat at that table, and it was like we'd known each other forever. As I did other things later in my career, I could look back at that and see how special it was. She married Dud Wash, who was way at the Army when she first met Andy, but then she decided she liked Dud after all.
That's the remainders of that mountain gladiola you gave me the day I departed to fulfill my country's needs.
Oh, Dad, you're the sweet boy whatever growed.
And they did have a baby, and they named the baby Andalina. And they brought Andalina into town and tried to get her betrothed to little Opie. They never continued with Andalina, so I don't know what happened to her.
I don't want to marry her.
Darling, don't they make a nice-looking couple?
I do locations for movies here in Las Vegas. When the director or somebody on the crew will figure out that I was on the Andy Griffith Show, it's like a big light goes on and everyone's very curious and very interested in that fact. I live a pretty quiet life most of the time, and then you go to Mount Airy and all of a sudden you're a celebrity. It's really thrilling. It kind of spoils you, and then you have to go back to real life.
The Griffith Show was a spin-off of a Danny Thomas. It was an episode in the Danny Thomas Show. So we had a whole summer to come up with an idea, and I couldn't come up with the idea for a theme. And finally, a week before we shot the main title, it occurred to me that it ought to be simple enough to whistle, and it took me about a half hour to write it. I got a little group together, a rhythm section, and did a demo of it. And I ran it by Sheldon Leonard's house the next day, and he said, well, that's fine. I'll just have Andy and Ronnie walking along the lake with a couple of fishing rods over their shoulder, and that's it. That's the way it happened.
Who did the finger snapping the night that it was recorded?
My son, who was 11 years old. Not exactly a professional, but he turned out to be a drummer.
And did you do the whistling on What We Hear?
Yes.
You did the whistling?
Yeah, it's pretty hot too.
Well, I think it sounds wonderful.
In the early 50s, most of the people in the studio business went to television. And I teamed up with Danny Thomas and Sheldon Leonard, and I worked their shows for 17 years.
This is from Andy and Opie, Housekeepers. A wonderful scene with childhood children. You use a variation of the theme song, and then also children's songs such as Farmer in the Dell. Even when they're jumping on the bed, the music jumps with them. It's a wonderful scene. You remember this scene?
No.
Well, let me tell you what Earl told me through email. I sent him a list of what I was going to show. He said, I haven't seen some of those episodes in 40 years, but I'm a good liar. So I told him we're going to inform him and lie to him at the same time.
I thought the reception was awesome. It's quite an experience. It's not usual for somebody who operates behind the camera. There is no recognition, there's no facial recognition, nobody knows who I am.
I don't think we as fans realize what a contribution and what a part Earl is to our Andy Griffith Show until we see a show without his music. A few years ago, Good Times Video released 10 episodes that were public domain, but the copyright on your theme song was not available to them. He said. I bought these tapes, took them home, and put them in my VCR. And Ken, show them what I saw. It's almost over.
Listen, I didn't do that.
Television is an assault on the public with violence and gratuitous sex and foul language and everything else, and the Griffith Show became an oasis. And I think Mayberry is utopia. That's where everybody would like to live because people are kind to each other.
This show is a part of who we are. We can relive that, and we have for 43 years. And a big part of it is your music.
Fight our country's battles on the land and on the sea.
Everything's okay.